frustrating is that, as we go on board with Unser Jr., to have a guy go past you so fast?
Oh, and you just listen to the throttle in Al Jr.'s car compared to Sam Hornish's car. Off the throttle, just fighting the car, fighting the steering wheel. Then you look in your mirror and you see another car come up behind you, closing in on you, and then he goes past you, and there's nothing you can do because your car's not working. It's a bad day.
Hornish has just completed 188 laps. We're looking for the interval now between Hornish and Vasser. It was 12.5 last time around. Now it's 13
all clear
seconds.
Behind. All clear.
And remember Thomas Schechter? We mentioned him at the start. He's had it. Now they got a lot of traffic.
And the closing speed there, Paul, is quite large, 25 miles an hour. This is where the spotter comes in play, letting them know what's coming up ahead. But as we're riding along here, I looked out to the stands, and those 86,000 people that are here today, they're all standing up right now.
Neves needs something to happen with.
He has seen it, he will come in. Now the problem that you have for Thomas is that he does not have radio, as we spoke about. He does have the information on the dash that you see right there. He knows how much fuel is in the tank, he knows how much fuel he's used. So hopefully he's paying attention to that, and he will not run the car out of fuel.
Firestone onboard camera, Felipe Giaffone. We're just going to ride with him. Listen to the engine.
Car closing and back.
Now, Paul, as we go through 1 and 2, listen to Giaffone's engine going down the straight, and you'll hear him run on the rev limiter, a little vibration.
Sharps and back. Car in back. Looking outside. Looking outside. 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 Still looking outside.
That's just behind him. You heard the mention of Scott Sharp. He moved up high. Now he's looking down the inside. That's Laurent Redon right now that Giaffone's working on. By the way, Greg Ray seems to have a problem. He's getting ready to go a lap down.
Paul, that's certainly tough for him because he's from Texas, runs for A.J. Foyt, who is right here in Texas himself. So there's a lot of Texas pride, a lot of Texas fans here pulling for Greg Ray tonight.
Likes the car with the exception of exiting turn 4. Meanwhile, as you ride on board with Sam Hornish Jr., they're not at all upset about the fact that Hornish is riding behind Castroneves at this time. In fact, they feel that they want Sam right there for at least the early going of the race. But they did say until he gets in traffic.
Marlboro team Penske is out in front. The teammate Elio Castroneves, Jill DeFerrin, currently sitting back in 8th place as we look at the Firestone onboard telemetry on Sam's car.
Look at the speed that they're getting, almost 180 miles an hour going into the turns, just down to 156 in the middle of the turns. Remember, they got full fuel on right now. The car is very heavy, used tires from qualifying. Look at the throttle trace, not off it that much going into turn. A little bit here with Sam in traffic, and look how close he gets to the traffic. Weight on the front of the car. They also have the roll bars, which allow inside the driver's cockpit adjustments to make the car handle different on the front and rear.
Firestone telemetry on board Sam Hornish Jr.'s car, and he is working all over the back end of Elio Castroneves. He got a little wide coming off of 4 and had to fall back, but again, he's closing in.
And Paul, as we ride along with him, look at his hands right now. They're almost at the 10 and 2, and as he goes along the straight, we're turning right now. You'll watch him get through the turn, and now he's in a comfortable position going through 1 and 2. As he's coming up here underneath Castroneves, he's going to have a look here, getting a little bit of a draft. Look at the hands right now. They go back in the right hand.
23 laps. Going to have a problem here at Richmond.
Well, Paul, survival of the fittest. We talked about that before with the drivers. Also will be with the cars. Now, looking at the Firestone telemetry in Scott Sharp's car, you can see the speed up to 165, 66 miles an hour going into the turn, off the throttle mid-turn, and then back on the throttle, squeezing it all the way up to about 97, 98%. And you can see he's not using the brake. You can see that third item right there, not getting any red on your screen. So that tells you he's just keeping off the brakes right now, using the car very little to make sure he's there at the end of the day.
Firestone added in braking for us. Let me tell you, though, there are also some pretty heavy lateral G's as you fling around this track in 15, 16 seconds.
And you can just ride along here, Paul, as you mentioned. See how quickly we come up to it as the driver's doing it. As we ride along with Sam right now, going turn 1, listen to the engine note. Not really off the gas too much for the exit of the turn, and there you see the car is going up towards the wall, the understeer.
You saw him reach down with his left hand.
Exactly, Paul. That is where the weight jacker is now. He's going to take it, and you talked about it down here in this area here, the weight jacker, and you heard the engineer talk about it. He's going to turn that to the left to put some more weight up on this left front wheel over here. And what's going to happen with that is going to make the car grip itself around the turn a little bit easier. He will not have to take his foot off the throttle, therefore obviously getting around the racetrack at faster speed.
Momentum, like he gets out of it a little bit when he makes that approach.
Well, interesting point right now. If you watch Meira's hands, it seems like he's got a lot of angle going in his hands compared to what you think you would usually see. I'm starting to wonder maybe if his car's not turning as well for him, maybe a little bit of understeer. It would be only made worse by these two cars in front, giving him a little bit of dirty air. So we'll have to see if they make some changes on the car for him when they get into this next pit stop. Interesting to watch how these cars all dance around on the track, Paul. Remember, we're sitting here watching it, and these guys go around here at 220, 221 miles an hour, around a mile and a half.
Hornish is third. That's Giaffone high up ahead.
21 is the next position.
Red Bull Team Cheever is expecting Buddy Rice will come in 2 laps.
Watch the draft, Paul. Oh, but he tried for the high side instead of the low side. Got advantage of both the cars in front of him, the lap traffic. That's you're seeing right in front of Giaffone, and then Giaffone himself. The whole situation here is that he was getting a huge tow, and Hornish just couldn't take advantage of it.
I'm also thinking that Cheever ought to be in any time now.
Closing in now. You got to get up with the 21. Use him.
Cheever's 41 laps out from his last stop. His new
update on Buddy Lazier's problem. He says the car's pushing all over the place. That's why he slipped from 5th back to 8th, and he's really got his hands full.
Well, not only him, but we watched Robbie Bull just a second ago, and Robbie's car was walking itself around. You saw him sort of getting it sideways, coming out of 2. A little bit of traffic, as we're always having a problem with here. Jacques Lazier doing the same thing, trying to get past Redon. Looking high, looking low. Looks like he'll make it on the high side now.
My jack car is Laurent Redon from France. And Jacques, give him a little, why don't you just let me out here?
We used to always say, excuse me, pardon me, coming through, and that's exactly what he did.
So you're right on board with Lazier, and that's Dare, Scott's pick for doing well. But he just passed 5 laps behind the lead.
And I've lost a little bit of money today, guys.
But it's interesting, the 2 of the passes that have involved Salazar have also involved Dare. You've been right there in the middle of them.
And Sam Hornish took advantage of it last time, getting a draft off of Dare. And then you saw him actually push aside and get through the 2 of them. I thought it was just a great move between Dare and Salazar.
They're going to display the black flag to Laurent Redon, the car that you just saw everybody cycling around, changing tone on the engine there.
Clear.
You lose some speed and momentum, and sure enough, there's somebody close behind. They'll get you.
Outside.
On board with Giaffone. That's ahead of them is Mark Dismore. There's the view from Dismore. Now, don't forget, Dismore had problems early on. And Dismore is actually 4 laps behind the race, but he's running pace equal to the leader. Sharp's coming in. You're on board with Sharp.
This is when it always bunches up after the restarts. Great opportunity to take time and maybe get past some of these guys because they're all bunched up. If they spread out, you get past one guy, and you got to go many, many laps to be able to get caught up to the next guy in front of you. So here's a prime opportunity to get past a few guys, hopefully in just a few laps.
All right, takes a look. Back on board with Jacques Lazier. Now, let's listen to him for a bit, Scott, because he's into the limiter.
limiter you heard right there. He could be running in 5th gear, not using 6th right now. 6th might be a fuel strategy gear, as we call it, just a longer gear to make the RPMs lower in the engine to conserve fuel. Or if they've chosen the 6th gear that he's running in right now, it could be a situation like we saw early in the year with Sam Hornish, where he's just not going to get any more speed out of the car.
And you look from the Johns Vanville car up through 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, and you can see already that Gilles de Ferran is the leader, is beginning to overlap the field once again. Some cars on the move, though everybody is being careful. Billy Boat.
Ferran calls all the shots for Felipe Giaffone and the Hollywood team, and all he has been telling Felipe, not only during this race, but for the last 3 or 4 races, is Felipe, nice and smooth, nice and smooth. I asked Felipe about how important that was, and he said, it's a calming influence for me. It almost becomes like a code word, so that
When we look at the Firestone telemetry from Sam Hornish Jr. at Richmond International Raceway, the SunTrust Indy Challenge, de Ferran is the leader, Giaffone 2nd, then this car, Sam Hornish Jr. Who's going to ride with him? Don't forget, we've added in braking now. The last panel. There he is on the brakes, feathers him back out. It tells you the relative pressure of the brake pedal as well.
Absolutely, Paul. What happens here, you can see he gets on the brake just in the middle of the turn, and then back on the gas, squeezing the throttle, going along the front stretch right now, 1,260 feet long, and starts to wind the car into turn 1, back on the brakes a little bit, back on the gas in this trouble area of turn 2, very gently trying to tame that 700 horsepower that we talked about, and look how quickly you do a lap here. Already back coming out of turn 4, 16, 17 seconds a lap.
Ground is too hard, too high in terrain.
See, he fell back a little bit there, and now he's on the gas. Looks like he's having trouble right there in turn 2. You can hear him playing with the throttle. You hear his team telling him 5 laps to go. He gets a good run going into 3, and then he has a shot coming out of here, going up to 1. He needs a good run all the way up through 1 and 2 to get him going down through into turn 3, which is the best passing place you can see here.
Up behind Alex Barron, Castro Neves still leads. He's pulled out by 2/10 over Unser Jr. and Felipe Giaffone.
Watch Sam's right hand right there. Every time he takes it off the steering wheel, which he just did, he's going over into this area right here. And that's the weight jacker. It means the car's not working exactly as he wants, so he starts to turn the weight jacker. The weight actually starts to put some more weight up in this left front tire. Helps the car turn better throughout the turn.
Last lap around for Castro Neves, 2:19. The strap adjustment for Hornish came at 220.3 miles an hour for a lap average. The strategy now. Now they're talking about bringing Dara in.
All these guys running at the front, probably using a lot of fuel here tonight. A lot of fuel in these hot, humid conditions to keep the engine cool. Ray off the throttle a little bit, just mid-turn. 130 degrees inside the cockpit there. Goes underneath. George, give him...
Hornish and Lazier. Lazier to 2nd. Little kick of the back end there, but he's solidly there now. But can Hornish try to move on him? Doesn't look like it. Boat's still the leader.
And as we ride along here, you listen for the driver. If he starts to lift his foot off the throttle, you'll hear that audibly, and you know that maybe the car's not working as well for him. He's playing with the throttle. Lazier runs faster through the center of the turn, is a little faster off. Sam's back on the gas, trying to run in the tire tracks of Lazier right now and trying to pick up a toe.
Look at the Firestone telemetry as we show you the speed and tell you that on the last lap, Sam Hornish Jr., that you were on board for that lap, was at 216.6 miles an hour.
See the throttle, 97, 98% on this system is about full throttle. The lateral G's, that's 3 times the driver's body weight as he's going through the turns. And as he starts to turn into the turn, the G's will build up until it gets to about a maximum of just over 4. We saw just over 4 there for a minute. Now you think about this, the driver's getting around here in about 24, 25 seconds a period.
put the right set of tires that were more to Scott Sharp's liking on and work his way back to the front. Meanwhile, the word on his teammate, Unser Jr., they have asked Al to control his fuel mileage just a bit. They would like to push the window a little bit further as Unser Jr. is trying to close on Eddie Cheever.
Unser Jr., you ride with him in 4th place. That's Cheever just ahead. And you saw the move by Sharp as he got around Lazier, and that put him into 9th place. Here's the Firestone telemetry, and again, the new feature here is the tire temperature pressure, which is on the bottom.
And Paul, you can see that red arrow that you see actually is indicating, as we're seeing right there, what is going on with the tire temperature and the pressure. It's just about 90% of where it needs to be. These Firestone Firehawks are great tires, and usually what ends up happening is they can run a full segment here without any problems whatsoever. Al Jr. knows that. He can see that on his dash, as we talked about before. He gets all that information right there on his steering wheel. He knows the tires are running perfectly for him. He just is trying to conserve some fuel running it behind Eddie Cheever.
And Scott, there is a problem that will develop very shortly if this race stays under green. And that's for your leader, Thomas Scheckter. Owen Snyder would like to have Scheckter come in on lap 52.
But there is another consideration as you look at the Firestone telemetry for Sam Hornish in the 4 car, the Pennzoil car. There are points awarded for leading the most laps. They have not yet been awarded in this race. In fact, we're not all that close to awarding them yet.
No, we still have quite a ways to go, Paul, but Hornish has led more laps than anybody right now by quite a large margin. And with Sharp right now leading as he is, but they know he has to come in the pits there again, so he's going to be out of the lead and not leading those laps to get the award. So he's playing a smart role right now. Speed out of the turn to take another shot at it going down the run.
Now, on board with Vitor Meira, who has come since the restart on lap 36 from 11th up to this position.
And if you watch right now, the guys that are up there in front, Paul, they're creating a big hole in the air for him, what we call the draft, and he's getting that benefit right now. He'll be able to suck himself up behind those cars through that draft, as we like to call it. They're poking a hole in the air for him, and he's going to get an opportunity to take another shot at getting past them.
John Menard's team was so pumped when Meira set the car on the pole and qualified. That was a big celebration. John Ward.
Guys, their concern is that he's lost somebody to draft and to run with, and unless he finds somebody soon, he could lose that precious lap.
Drafting is a key issue here, much like you see on the Winston Cup tracks. You get it behind somebody, you help them cut the air in front of you, and you team up as it is. Even if they're not the same team as you, you work together. You try to move yourself up the field and get to the next car that's in front of you in the lineup.
Scott, that was exactly the message that Roger Penske's crew just sent to Gilles Deferrin, telling him you've got to stay behind the driver in front of you, which is his teammate, Helio Castroneves, in order to run with him, in order to draft, and in order to get to the front. So these drivers experiencing exactly what you said and trying to get to the draft, Jackaroo.
Well, Vince, as we said at the top of the show, when you lose seconds on pit road.
Welcome back to the Firestone Indy 200, the Indy Racing League at Nashville. The 3rd and final night race of the IRL season. You ride with the leader, DeLand, Florida's Tony Renna, who is replacing Unser Jr. in the Corteco car. It's been a good race thus far. Renna is in front because 48 laps complete, he has not stopped. Sam Hornish Jr. is back about 7 seconds. He finally maneuvered around Eliseo Salazar and moved.
The car probably is turning too easy for him right now.
All the way to the left.
You see what he's doing there with his hand right down in the corner underneath the steering wheel, moving that weight jacker that his engineer, Andy Brown, is telling him to do. Sam is not happy with the car, off the throttle right there, losing positions, and right now he has to wait to the first stop to allow the pit crew to do some work for him.
Tomorrow night, Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus team up to take on Jr., and now Scott Sharp lines up, ready to do the same.
Now watch Scott Sharp's hands, very smooth, tells you his car is working well for him. Smooth acceleration out of the turn, going into turn 3 here right now. A little bit on the brake, and then to get on the gas and try and put 700 horsepower down to the ground.
DeFerrin, Ray Don, then Barron. And this battle, Hornish and Scott Sharp. Sharp sticks his nose out for a second, looks for room, can't do it. Jackaroo.
Buell has got a problem. He has pulled out of pit road with a problem with his Infinity engine. They have pulled the bonnet and they are going to work, trying to troubleshoot. That's the problem when you're not quite sure what is causing the issues. You have to start from square one, and that means going through the wiring harness and an assortment of electronic gear.
gets through, Paul, you watch Sam. He will dive towards the bottom.
Oh!
220 miles an hour, not giving an inch.
Still inside, still there, still inside.
See, here comes off the gas.
Around they go in.
Telemetry that are on these cars, there's information being sent back as it happens from the cars to the pit lane. The engineers are looking at the information that the driver also sees in the steering wheel. They know exactly where the car is on their laptop screen, how much fuel he's using, all the engine functions as we're seeing here on the Firestone information. Lateral G is 3.9 over 4. Really taxing on a driver, especially with the heat that we have tonight. The speed, 216, 17, 18, 19 miles an hour. You can see how it just spurts itself up. And we talked about that tire temp and tire pressure information. The red arrow is actually going from the yellow into the green, telling you the pressure and the temperatures are going up as he continues to run after the yellow.
And again, thanks to that great telemetry provided by Firestone. Here's the on-the-move closing on Castroneves. Whoa, as they both come down alongside one of AJ's cars and finally come clear. All three of the Foyt cars have dropped a lap off the pace.
That tells you that whatever they've got, it's actually infectious, Paul. It's not working on either one of the cars, and I caught up with Greg Ray just to...
No problems with weather tonight. It's really a beautiful evening for watching a race here in Richmond. Though the track temperature is still pretty warm. It's only dropped about 5 degrees since the start.
So right along with Sam Hornish, you can see right now he's pacing off laps. We know Sam so well, he just doesn't seem like he's really going off for the lead right now. We heard some information from the pits before. Just put some time in, make sure you're counting off the laps. It certainly seems what he's doing right now.
Looking back now from Felipe Giaffone at Sam Hornish. Lazier must have had some, oh, how close. Buddy Lazier must have had some issue on just the last lap because he suddenly dropped
Inside,
to
still
7th.
inside,
And
inside,
DeFerrin came
still
up to
there,
battle right on for
inside.
3rd.
Still inside, still inside, still there, keep digging, keep digging. White flag this time.
On board with Scott Sharp, leader of the race and due in about 5 laps.
And Scott Sharp has made a change in terms of tire selection. Most of the teams started on scuff tires. When they came in that early stop and didn't like the way the car was running, they changed their Firestone Firehawks to sticker tires. Are you surprised by that?
Well, they're looking for more grip, obviously, and what ends up happening with that, those sticker tires are brand new because they call them stickers because the labels are basically still on the tires themselves. And then, in the end result, you can have a choice between those and the worn-in tires that you talked about.
Jill DeFerrin came in, made a stop, and it looks like it's going to be a long one, Gary.
Yeah, Paul, this is something you don't ordinarily see on pit road. You can see the whole rear gearbox has been disassembled already by the DeFerrin-Penske team. They pulled it out, and they're working down there around those hot parts. We understand that Jill blew second gear when he exited the pits on the...
Are having a lot of times really rough inside the cockpit, and right now...
Listen here, what's going on with this?
I'll tell you, there's an extra brake.
Coming outside. They want you to bring it in.
Now, Paul, there's an extra red light on his dash right there. That top single red light is giving him an indication that there's something awry in the motor. He knows that. You can hear the engine is off song right now. Sounds like it's running at 7 cylinders.
They asked him to bring it in.
Coming outside.
Kept it up.
Clear. All clear behind.
Yeah, look at that Firestone telemetry, Paul. 153 miles an hour when the other guys are doing 200.
Fuel, tires and fuel. Coming outside.
Whatever it is, they're going to try and work on it, though. They're going to go tires and fuel. You heard that.
First thing they'll do, get the service work done, and then look for the problem.
Dismore is already...
Car today, so Giaffone is definitely making a lot of moves there, going down the backstretch. He keeps that up. Brian Barnhart, the chief steward, will actually be looking to see what he's doing. They end up getting a stop-and-go penalty.
The race control booth is located directly adjacent to us, and you can see race control on their two-way radios and watching their monitors as well as watching this battle out the window. Looking over from Meira's car at Giaffone. Gary Gerald as we cross the halfway point.
Great racing on the track. We also had a mini confrontation in the pits. Eliseo Salazar is back in the cockpit of his car. They had brought a wing down from Tony Renna's pit from the Kelly team. Craig Baranowski, I believe, brought it down. Jim Frudenberg, general manager of the Kelly team, came marching down here, grabbed the wing, and went back. So now they're trying to repair the damaged wing of A.J. Foyt and get Salazar back out.
Now they might be needing that wing.
Oh, look at that, Paul. 220 miles an hour, just inches away from each other.
Still there. Clear.
Going back now behind. Jacques Lazier sits behind Unser Jr.
Watch Sam here. Oh, he's almost there. How did he get away with that? I'm not sure. I can tell you that's got to raise your heart rate.
That was an accident. They just forgot to tell Hornish.
Well, he's a little fearless, and I don't think he pays attention to those things. Working the wheel, as you saw.
Looked like the back end jumped on him.
Oh, well, he's going to keep his foot into it, no doubt. But the tires are just coming up to temperature. They just finished a pit stop, don't forget. He's got to start building the speed up, get a run on them, and start to slip underneath them either on the inside or else on the high side. Now, we're hearing that rev limiter again. I got to believe that sixth gear that's in that car right now is too long for him to use. Otherwise, he would upshift and take advantage of the speed that that gear would give him. You also see him fighting the wheel a little bit right there, coming through 1 and 2 right mid-turn. A little bit of that is because he's in dirty air from the car in front of him. He's turning the wheel more than maybe he wants to, and it's called understeer. The front wheels are underreacting to the amount of steering that he's placing into the car. The car is not...
Since the start of the race. Here we go into turn 3. Down to the white line, we call the apex, coming out to the short chute, running towards the wall, coming in through turn 4. He's going to try and get a slipstream on the car in front of him. That's to run directly behind him, let that car in front break the air for him, and hopefully he can get enough of a run to turn around and make the pass.
Well, the Ray Hall Letterman team really helped out putting temperature. And I was going to say, got to be the only ones that don't like this weather. It is perfect at Indianapolis. Back on board, the Pennzoil car with Sam Hornish. He's chasing Thomas Schechter. There's the Firestone telemetry. Just watch it as he cuts into the corner.
Now the important thing to hear there, guys, no lift of the throttle through turns 3 and turn 4. It tells you Sam's car is handling perfectly. On the rev limiter, we heard this a little bit before from Sam's car and a few other cars. The wind is not as strong today as maybe the teams expected, and the wind is actually going across the racetrack. Maybe some of these teams...
6th. On board with our Firestone winners cam, Felipe Giaffone. Well, this guy celebrated serious after his first win 2 weeks ago at Kentucky.
And as we ride along, Paul, you heard some vibration coming out of the engine. That's the rev limiter that he's driving on. As we ride along here, watch to see his hand right there.
Nice job out there. Nice job. Nice and smooth.
Getting some information from his team saying, nice job, nice and smooth. Watch his right hand going down to the shifter. It's a sequential shifter. Only takes about a 1/4 inch of movement for him to change gears. So close to the wall, the exit turn 2, up to 5th gear right now.
Try and hang with these guys if you can.
Jack Arute, what's what RC wrecked? 6 BAMs, right? Or is there 2 BAMs to a single hit? Look at there. There's the gears, and that gnarled one is second.
And you can say, Paul, look at this area right here. There should be a gear there, and it's actually broken off and missing. And you can see the teeth here themselves have also broken. That's because there's parts going through the gearbox, and it's just taken out more and more of the gears, and you certainly can't run a car 220 miles an hour with all those parts rumbling around inside that gearbox. And it may be the...
Now Meira, don't forget, he was on pole. See the speeds we're doing right now, over 220 miles an hour, going down the straight, down to about 215 mid-turn. Full throttle all the way around here, even in traffic in this dirty air that he's getting from the 2 cars in front. You see the tire temperatures there, that little arrow signals in the green telling the drivers that they know that the tire pressures and tire temperatures are up into the proper operating area.
And tells you that the Firestones are working very good. 220 miles an hour. The last lap for Meira. Battle for the lead is just ahead of him.
Clean move by Scott Sharp. He heard him get a nice run on Unser Jr., make a clean pass on the inside. And here it's very tough for the drivers. They've got cold tires, full fuel load, trying to get back up to speed, up to pace, getting that mindset that we talked about. And certainly the Penske boys and Sam Hornish, Renna are doing a great job of that out front.
You're on board there for a second with the number 9 Target Ganassi car. And you're looking back now at Eddie Cheever Jr. in his Red Bull car. He was up alongside the rear wheel of Wardy just a moment ago, and looks like he wants to get there again.
Now what happens here, Paul, is usually a car will work well on one end of the racetrack and maybe not so well on the other end. And you get around other drivers that might have the same problem. And if one guy works well in 3 and 4 and you work better in 1 and 2, well, it's sort of like a cat and mouse game. Who can actually get by who in the other guy's territory?
Also sitting back there is Ayrton Dora. Unser Jr. is still out front. On board with Hornish now, 5th. Firestone telemetry for Sam Hornish Jr. The speed doesn't drop off all that much, does it? And the G's are trying to pull him out the right side of the car.
A lot of pressure on a driver. Got to have a perfect line, contend with the traffic in front of him. Obviously, we talked about how hot it is here today, how hot it is in their office, and you hear him get off the gas. It tells you that the car's wanting to slide out from underneath him on the front. His right hand right now is missing it. Went off the steering wheel, down into this area here. He's back with that weight jacker, trying to make that car work better for him. His goal is not to have to take his foot off the throttle as he's going around the track, because he knows if he does, it's going to slow his speed up.
Just made another adjustment down there on the left. Mark Dismore, by the way, who was running so well, just pulled off the track and behind the pit wall. Gary Gerald since the race start. And here is the defending race champion, Unser Jr. Remember Gary told you about his accident this morning, left front damage. They replaced suspension parts, got him back in the run. Unser Jr. currently running 14th.
And Paul, as we ride along with here, look on both sides of the side pods. Get well Jason over here on the left, and get well Bernie. Both those crew member and Jason Driesling that were injured over in Kentucky. And we saw some well wishes coming from everybody in the Kelly team to both of those guys, and both of them are now doing much better.
And Priestley has been released from the hospital into physical therapy. He'll be there. Sam's a little careful there, but look at that. That's Ayrton Dora. He's replacing Johnny Beechler, who you just met. And Dora has given this car a great ride.
When Ayrton Dora got the call, they said A.J. Foyt's on the phone. Dora laughed when the man on the phone says, "Do you have your equipment with you?" He said, "Yeah, sure." When he was talking on the cell, he walked over to the pit of A.J. Foyt, and lo and behold, it was Foyt on the phone.
Thought it was a practical joke. It wasn't, and now he's paying A.J. back. He's given the car a wonderful ride. Hornish looks low on him.
And guys, what a wonderful thing this is for Ayrton Dora, because he had not been in the car since last October, got a couple of warm-up laps, qualified the car, only had about 15 or 20 laps in the car in warm-up this morning, and here he is running in front of last year's champion.
And guys, he'd never run a Dallara chassis before. It's a whole new world for him.
On board with Sharp, currently 5th. Leader is Felipe Giaffone, who's trying to become the 6th first-time winner in the last 7 IRL events. Complaints whatsoever with anybody, despite an incredibly competitive race.
Oh, Paul, you think about how fast you're going around the racetrack. Even at this particular track, 170 miles an hour average right now, topping out about 180. There can just be no room for error. You can't do what some of those guys were doing at Texas the other year at over 200 miles an hour. You have to respect your fellow drivers, and those guys are putting on just great shows now since they've done that, and all the drivers are out there having a lot more fun, not worried about getting themselves put up into the wall.
The Firestone telemetry for the 4 car of Sam Hornish Jr. And remember, when you see the lateral G's go up at 3.7.
Probably 5 on the day.
Jacques Lazier picks up the lead by staying out. He's now completed 38 laps since the start.
Well, guys, may not look like much, but this is big information right now. 38 laps compared to 35 or 36 for the other guys. These guys are getting great fuel mileage right now. Don't forget that they build their own engines. And as you saw him just push that button on his steering wheel, I will bet you that he's coming in the pits this time. He probably set that pit speed limiter to activate once he enters pit lane.
He's coming in this time. We're going to have to slow down.
Well, now we're counting 39.
Going back now, Sam Hornish runs in ninth. And he's trying to move on and get around the Hollywood car. Philippe Giaffone, number 21, just ahead of him.
Now, Paul, we know Sam Hornish as we see him trying to run the outside. Giaffone going through turn 2. You saw the wheel in his hand start to go around and move underneath him. It's a very bumpy section in turn 2. The car comes out from underneath you a little bit in perfect conditions. In traffic, he's getting the dirty air from the car in front of him. And you see this group of car up in front of him right here, giving him a lot of dirty air for the aerodynamics of his car. Very difficult to get some good steering as he's trying to get underneath all the traffic and make a clean run down here to 3.
Well, as you saw them come off of that bump in turn 2, you saw John Herb's number 16 car really bounce at for Sarah Fisher, but the good news is she's in a great car and she's going to do something with that car. Firestone telemetry on board the leader, Sam Hornish Jr.
Listen to him just crack the throttle a little bit. He's getting through traffic very well right now, not getting hung up behind any of these guys that are in front of him, being able to pick and choose his lines. You see the throttle there, almost full throttle. He's going to try the high line already, all the way around, doing a great job. Off the throttle just slightly, gets moved up from Ray, back on the gas.
Caution comes on. Caution comes on.
Got a yellow out, yellow out.
And so for the first... We're back, Nazareth, Pennsylvania, the Firestone Indy 225, the Indy Racing League. Firestone telemetry with the leader, Unser Jr.
You can see in telemetry the throttle position that he has, 98%, he's flat on it, all the way through the front stretch and through turn 1, coming up to turn 2. The big lift comes down in turn 3, right down the bottom of this hill. 34-foot drop here from turn 2 all the way down to turn 3. High-speed section of the track, over 170 miles an hour, big lift off the gas and back on it, and that's one fast lap here at Nazareth.
But Scott, one of the things on that Firestone telemetry that we seldom see is a negative number on lateral G's. I thought that you only experienced a negative G when you're on like a roller coaster or the space shuttle.
Well, this track is a little bit like a roller coaster, Jack. Turn 2, you get up in the air, start to fall off that 34-foot drop down towards turn 3. I can tell you from driving here in the past that when you get to turn 2, you fall off.
At the same time, some guys with problems, and most notably there is Jeff Ward. Talking about the sun, you see the glare they get there. What's that do to you?
Oh, that's very difficult. Guys are going through turns 3 and 4. Remember, 215, 220 miles an hour. As the sun continues to settle down, what will end up happening, it will get further down and start to blind them through their visor. Now, a lot of guys will start this first segment with a pair of sunglasses on. Come into the pits for their first time, open their visor, take those sunglasses off, throw them over the pit wall, and then hopefully the sun is then...
Junior sitting in 3rd place. There's his onboard, and there's the Firestone telemetry, Scott.
And watch his hands. Look how smooth he is right through here. He's not moving his hands very much. Tells you that the car is working very well for him. I spoke with him at the driver's meeting this morning. He just had that sly smile, and he just says, I have a very good race car.
Behind Little Al is Billy Boat. Then to Farron. And look at Boat as he comes down to the inside. And Boat moves into 3rd place. So of Sam Hornish Jr. And we look at the Firestone telemetry. This will show you those G-forces.
You saw the slow speed exiting turns 1 and 2 when you call slow, 155, 60 miles an hour, getting up to 180. Watch the G's, just over 4 for a moment there. Turns 3 and 4 as we're riding along is a much faster turn, more of an open turn. Drivers really aren't lifting off the throttle, and you see he's upshifting on the rev limiter there, just a small amount. Right hand going down towards the shifter. Just watch his hand over here, shifting as we go along. This track is very difficult. On the brakes a little bit in turns 1 and 2 and using the shifter.
Interesting, he only really hits 5th gear for a short period of time on the front stretch.
Well, the wind has changed here, Paul, over the last couple of days, and right now the wind is behind him.
Tries it again. You see anything on that car, Scott?
No, but the thing that sometimes happens, Paul, is when you go through a yellow situation and the car is slow on the racetrack, you sometimes can pick up some rubber on the track that's from the other tires. And sometimes it gets on top of the tire because the tire is very hot. These tires run at 220 degrees Fahrenheit, and they just take a while to clean off. So we'll have to wait to see if Castroneves starts to report it and say, hey, the car is starting to feel okay now for me. One thing is for sure.
On top of the stands, Pancho Carter. And his battery his radio on board is starting to fade. Periodically, as you can hear there, the words copy. That comes from Sam Hornish, but not all the time.
125 laps. Sam Hornish, the leader, leads by 7.7 seconds, due for a stop. Behind him in third. There's the onboard Firestone cam with Felipe Giaffone. Giaffone sitting back in 8th place.
And that was a nice move, Paul, that we saw by Unser Jr. slicing between a couple of cars there in traffic. What a nice job that was.
Giaffone goes high on Redon. You could hear him hit the rev limiter a bit, though.
Might be running in 5th gear. That tells you that he's using that gear to really keep up the pace. 6th gear might be in there just to help conserve fuel, lower the RPMs if they need it. You never quite know. You also have to remember that they're running in traffic right now in the draft. All these cars...
Maybe he's got some of that Arizona Diamondback luck with going with him. You know, he decked out the side pods of his car to recognize the World Series championship of the D-backs, the local Major League Baseball team here. They lost an engine in the final practice session, but he said, we got a few bullets left in our arsenal, and now he's had to go out there and dodge a few as well.
We're just going to ride with Sam Hornish as he tries to track down Helio Castroneves.
Here, guys, listen to Sam Hornish's car. You hear that burbling noise every time he gets going into the turn at the end of the straightaway. The car is running on what we call the rev limiter. It's at 10,700 RPM. The engine will not go any faster. If he's in top gear right now in 6th gear, Sam Hornish is going to have a problem trying to track these guys down. He does not have enough speed.
All right, we're splitting with Unser Jr. Hornish is on the right, Jr. is on the left. Difference. Junior has clear sailing. Well, now he's beginning to see traffic. Here's the car on the move. Look at that view down this front straight. 50 feet wide.
Paul, 9 football fields in length is the front stretch. We saw that in the diagram a little bit earlier. It doesn't take you long to get from turn 4 to turn 1. And boy, you're throwing a lot of touchdown passes going 225 miles an hour.
On the long backstretch, identical to the front, 5/8 of a mile long. Just blasted the 40th lap at 226 miles an hour and slows just a little bit on the last lap. We talked about that telemetry issue with Sam Hornish Jr. Gary, have they got it working yet?
Well, Paul, was amazing in that last round of pit stops. And remember, both Penske cars, DeFerrin, Castroneves, and Hornish all came in, and now they're out of sequence with Scheckter and Giaffone. But for Sam Hornish, they either stalled the car or purposely turned it off. But when they restarted it, they got their telemetry back. So life is a little bit easier right now for the Panther team as we watch Sam work there behind the wheel in number 4.
And currently runs 5th. Nothing changes up at the front, but they're all right there where they can attack. What's the story on Dare now?
Well, there's a strong road racing experience. Might have a slight advantage here. Onboard Lazier. Absolutely, as we're on board with Lazier right now, a little bit of moisture on his lens. We're not sure if that's precipitation coming from the rain or if that's actually something coming off the cars that are in front of him. But getting back to Thomas Scheckter, he's used to running road courses. This is only his 4th oval track experience that he's ever had.
No changes to the car, no changes to the car. And 3 more laps.
It's interesting, no changes.
Roger, do you copy? No change to car, no change to car, Andy. Reminding us of pit lane speed. was it again? 4,200?
Pit 4, 4,200.
Change the ticket to GF. Pit in 2. Pit in 2.
That's one more time by, one more time by. Tell him pit is flat when he comes by, Fonto.
Roger, Andy, I will.
Get ready, Ted.
Pit this time, speed 4,200, second gear.
71 laps complete for the leader, Sam Hornish Jr. The crew has just told him next time by, come on into the pit, so he ought to be dropping down. Remember, he doesn't have, boy, he's caught out on it. On board with Unser Jr. We'll give you the Firestone telemetry again and right here. Look at that, 221, 222, 223, 224. Whoa.
Full throttle, you see 99.7, that's maximum percentage. That's how that system works, up to around 4 Gs in the turns. You see the tire temp right there. It's in the green section, so you know the tires are fully up to pressure and temperature after that long yellow. Go around the traffic in front of him, or he'll lose positions for sure. They're stuck now. You've got these 3 guys in front of them. Let's ride along and listen to some throttle. Fighting the steering wheel and that dirty air from the cars in front.
At Kansas Speedway, the Kansas City Indy 200, Indy Racing League. I'm Paul Page with Scott Goodyear and Bob Jenkins. We're up top. We're in the air conditioning. Down in the blistering heat, Jack Harut and Gary Gerald. Sam Hornish none. On board Unser Jr., the Porteco car.
Paul, he's done a great job. Started 14th. Remember, he's been off for the last few weeks, just getting back into a car on Saturday here. Has not run the last couple of races, but certainly he's back up to speed very fast. Getting a draft right now off the Lazier. You can hear him lift off the throttle.
Whoa, look at it dial high there. Unser Jr. So Tony Kanaan on point now, the leader of the race. Hornish coming out, back up to speed. Maneuvering well.
Sam Hornish was actually going around Sarah, not Robbie Buell. Sarah motioning something with her hand. Well, she might try and make a signal to the pit lane where the signboard people are. She might have a radio problem because there's not really a reason to take her hand off the steering wheel.
With the stop under green, though, the net effect for Hornish was to put him a lap down in 23rd position.
As the race wore on, his car came back to him. Now he's being very patient for a young driver, knows to wait until his car gets right for him before he can actually move forward, just like he did last segment.
Sam's working a lot down on the left side there.
He is. If his hand goes back over here, you see his right hand, which is right here, reach underneath this left, and he's actually probably just working the bars, which changes suspension settings on the front or the rear, or maybe possibly the weight jacker. There he goes again. He's not happy with the car right now. He's going to make some adjustments inside to see if he can get the car better to his liking.
And when we got his radio up, you don't see the thumb going for the transmit button. He's not telling them anything yet.
Well, right now what needs to happen is fresh tires. They need to come up to temperature and pressure. He wants those Firestone tires come up to both the temperature and the pressure, then the handling is stabilized, and then he can actually make a report back to the
alongside Sharp.
Still there, clear. Tuck in behind him. Lazier behind you.
Lazier got around to Farron and drops into 6th.
You heard him, spotter, say tuck in behind him. These guys,
got Lazier inside. Inside.
No, it's
inside, clear.
To get that draft going.
Right there.
Very hard as a driver, though, to convince
commit yourself to sitting behind somebody else on the racetrack.
Scott, and that's exactly what Roger Penske is having to convince Gilles de Ferran. He constantly is reminding him on the radio, let him go and tuck in behind. Be patient. It's a 400-mile race.
April 21st, the Indy Racing League returns to ABC for the Firestone Indy 225. It's the final race before the Indy 500. We'll see which teams and drivers have the momentum heading into Indianapolis. The Firestone Indy 225, April 21st, right here on ABC. Now closing on the last laps of the race, 10 to go. Castroneves, de Ferran up front, Marlboro Team Penske.
Pancho Carter told him just gather it back up and start digging again.
Yeah, they don't get much better than Pancho to be up there. Former USAC Sprint Car champion, first winner of the Michigan 500. Gets on the phone to Sam Hornish, and boy, the wisdom that comes down there sometimes is pretty amazing. We're at Chicagoland Speedway, the Delphi Indy. Buddy Rice on the move. You saw him come down the inside. But Eddie Cheever may have scared Scheckter into a win. Rode him hard this week. Scheckter pulling away.
Looking inside.
Giaffone, then de Ferran.
Rice inside.
Here comes Rice. Over in turn 3, and it is straight out.
Not only straight out, but you can see it. It just gusts itself around, changing directions of about 25 degrees. And I got to tell you, as a previous driver, today is a day that you'd rather be sitting inside the stands because you're getting moved around, as I mentioned before. You can turn into a turn, and the car can just leap itself over out of a lane. But one guy it doesn't seem to affect too much today, Sam Hornish Jr.
He's got a powerful lead, but he also had a lot of help keeping him up here. A lot of his competition did themselves in.
Well, he's had a very lucky day, but obviously you have to be good, which he is. The team has to be great, and you have to have some luck, and he's made all the right calls. But as we mentioned, there's been a few things go on today, and the people that we thought that would be competitive up there in a bunch of 6 or 8 just don't seem to be around right now through low tires with Jacques Lazier, going out in accidents and that sort of thing.
Let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, Scott, you think some